Hey, what's going on? It's Miguel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I made $11,100 in 3 days while living in Bangkok, Thailand. Did this through high ticket sales. So kind of sharing not only a little bit about how I even got into it, but what I'm doing now and how I'm doing it. All right, so for some proof though, here's couple screenshots from Stripe and Fanbasis. Obviously, I'm on payroll, doing high ticket sales, closing deals. So I'll have to wait for those last payments as this was through the weekend, as you can see here. But once again, I also have a couple grand to collect this week, but we'll call it 11,000. I more so collected like 6,700 though, in cash between those 3 days. Miro board on the Miro board, and I'm gonna kind of share how I even got into the space, right? So first, I was working at a golf course, a warehouse over in Florida. Then I started working corporate after taking an online course. Through that course, I started, obviously doing more studying, online information space. Broke into, buying a couple courses, programs. Luke Alexander's program is the big one for me. I worked with Chase Hughes right here, and then you have Jace England, who I sold for as well. $1.7 million launch in a month. So I kind of got the work next to, a guy doing an AI startup and was a leader in the info sales space. Really learned from him. Got to partner up with a real entrepreneur, 8-figure guy, and then sell for someone who's dominating the current space. So, kind of got lucky with who I've worked with. I think that's a big thing if you're going to be getting into the space, is really pay for proximity, right? Either pay with time or pay with money. Okay, so what I mean pay for time is offered to do remedial, like just super redundant tasks, things that may not necessarily be super fun, but you're in proximity to these individuals, right? So for example, you can cold call dead leads, old leads for them, right? But you're able to sit in on their meetings, see what they're doing, and get training from them. So really invest into your skill sets early on. I spent most of my money on courses, coaching programs, or trying to do some sort of health things or things that are supporting work, right? So if you can really invest into yourself in these first couple of years, years 1 through 3, you'll have a major advantage. But all that to say, I just worked with some really cool people and worked for a really good company and led a Fortune 500 sales company early on. So I got some couple of really good opportunities. So now people can say that's luck, but in the same light is you kind of have to force it, right? I also lost tens of thousands in the process, which you just obviously can't highlight here. Okay, so if you feel like you're getting the bed right now, that's okay, but just keep shooting your shots. And as you take more risk, you'll get better at taking risks, right? All that to say, just position yourself properly. Okay, that's how I'm able to move here and generate 5 figures at least in projected revenue through the week, right? 6,700 in cash collected. But going from there, what I actually did was high ticket sales. All right, so I use this specific framework right here. I'll kind of walk y'all through it. So first, what I do is I go into tangible outcome and then current situation, problem awareness, pre-handling, ideal criteria, future pacing, cost of an action, pitch. Okay, so if you're not in sales already, basically the purpose of a framework or a script, whatever, is to give yourself a repeatable system that you can identify where you're messing up at, what you're doing well, so that way you can predictably get better and improve. Okay, so sales is a process-driven activity, and we're getting the same objections, or we're losing them at a certain point. We notice a tone switch. Okay, is it something I'm saying? Is it the way I'm saying it? What's going on? And then when we have an actual process and methodology behind it, you're better able to make those adjustments. Okay, and then it obviously just improves through repetition. So if you haven't sold before, you haven't done anything like this, it's okay. Just find a proven framework or a script. Make sure you're obviously taking in the right information, which can be hard to find if you're a beginner, but there's plenty of good YouTube resources out there. Go with people who have results you want or living our life that you want to be living. Okay, so I just went to people who are doing really good in sales, paid to be around them, worked for some teams for not a lot of money just to see their processes, right? And then eventually stumbled upon this framework from someone, kind of tweaked it and made it my own, right? So the whole purpose of this is to get what they want. What are they doing now to help them get what they want? Understand that they can't get what they want because of what they're doing now. Why haven't they bought in before? Make sure they reframe and understand that that's ultimately what's holding them back, right? Whether it's fear or lack of resources. Okay, the lack of resources because they don't have the skills, something like that, right? If you know, you know. Then from there, you find out what they want to be using for buying criteria. What this means is, like, let's say you're selling a fitness coaching offer. right? But the lady's a vegetarian. If you tell her at the pitch, yeah, we help you lose weight through all these sorts of, proteins, steaks, fish, chicken, lamb, pork, she's not going to want to buy, right? But if you can lead with a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet to help them lose weight, and it's something you can genuinely offer, then, pitch it that way, not patch it that way, right? It's going to serve you and them better. Then from there, you future pace, which basically is helping create the gap, right? Because if the amount of money they have and then what the item is perceived to be valued at are here, it's hard to make them. It's hard for them to make a buying decision, right? But if they think your product is worth 10,000, but they're paying 5, then they'll buy it. Okay, it's like whenever you say, "Hey, look, I'll sell you this Lamborghini. It's 100 grand for 20K, perfectly serviced by Lamborghini." You're more likely to buy it because it's worth 6 figures as a car, versus like 5,000 for a bicycle. It's like, come on, you're not going to pay it, right? So the goal is to create this big of a gap as possible, and how you do that is through this future pacing and cost of inaction. Now there's other stuff in the call, but this really plays a massive part, okay? Because we get the income goal, which is where they're looking to get to, right? If let's say if we're selling them, or they're trying to lose weight, it could be their weight goal, right? But wherever they're trying to get their North Star. So let's say they're trying to make $10,000 a month, but they're making $3K a month as a janitor. Okay, well, you may make $10K a month. How would that impact your life? Well, I wouldn't have to work my janitor job anymore. I'd be able to travel and get back to my family. How would that make you feel to be able to be the guy who's able to do that? It would make me proud, fulfilled. It would make my family happy. It would mean the world to me. And what happens if that doesn't happen? All right, then like, oh, my life would be bad. Do you want that? No. What happens if you keep doing what you're doing? All that sorts of stuff, right? And have them understand that they keep doing what they're doing, they'll stay here. But if they want to get here, they have to take action, right? We're able to build this big of a gap by not only increasing the ceiling, right, but bottoming out the floor. And then we pitch our solution, which obviously we ask them what they look for. Then we have a dialed in pitch to bridge the gap. And then we build up enough urgency and pain throughout the call. We reframed any belief as to why they haven't made the purchase before and why they should not let that hold them back from now. Built the pain, and then boom, they'll more than likely buy, right? That's how you're able to have these sales calls without objections. That's why I was able to close at a really high rate and able to have this well of a week. It's just knowing the process, right? So I think with sales, a lot of people who are from other backgrounds, they know what to say, but they don't exactly know why they're saying it, right? This isn't just like other industries. It's in the info space, but I feel like what info does really well, now it contrasted to the other industries I worked in, is because we really get to why we're saying it in frameworks. Because it's freelance, it's because it's 1099, and you need the skill set to be malleable. You really understand sales itself, as that way you can transfer and hop to different offers over and over again without having to have long ramp up times, just getting dialed in for that role. I know it's a lot, but I wanted to drop y'all some sauce there, but that's mainly my scripted framework for doing it. There's really nothing else other than that. It's really just being around the right people to build up the foundational skill set and connections to have the right opportunities presented to you. And then you couple that with just understanding what you're saying and why you're saying it as a salesperson, and then just practice and repetitions. It just takes time, sticking to it, not giving up, reinvesting into it, prioritizing skill set over everything, prioritizing that development over everything. Because if you develop into the best version of yourself with the highest skill level, you're more than likely to make more money. Right? Okay, like that. So this is something you are looking to do yourself and don't know where to start. Obviously, there's plenty of free content out there. I have stuff on my page, but if you want more like one-on-one help with this and really implementing it, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, shoot me a DM, book a call below. Check out my my YouTube. You'll see me where I helped out Bader, helped out Ty, hit 6K, 8K a month. Got a couple more to post here soon. But my mentees are getting some pretty good results. So if this is something you want to do, not saying you'll make $11,000 in your first week, but it is a possibility to get to, within your first 1, 2, or 3 years was what it took me. Right? Hopefully you get there faster than me. People have. But that being said, hope this was helpful. And yeah, have a good one.